Today's objective is that students will be able to place fractions on a number line and justify the placement. In class, students will be working with a variety of fraction models, including fractions representing less than one whole, fractions that are equivalent to a whole, and fractions greater than a whole number. However, in this lesson, we will be focusing on the methods students can use to justify the placement of fractions on the number line. In the following example, I will demonstrate different ways students can justify their answers. Two students drew the fraction tiles 2/3 and 2/4 and need to place their fractions on the number line. To place these two fractions on the number line, I can use what I know. I know that 2/4 is equal to 1/2 because 2 is 1/2 of 4. I can put 2/4 on the number line. Now to place 2/3 on the number line, I need to divide the number line into thirds. I will do that using red. The numerator 2 tells me I need 2 pieces of the number line, so I can place 2/3 on the number line. From the placement on the number line, I can see that 2/3 is greater than 2/4. In this problem, I used a combination of what I know about the equivalent fractions 1/2 and 2/4 and a number line to show 2/3 to justify my placement of 2/4 and 2/3 on the number line. A second way to think through this problem is to draw equal size and shape models. It is essential that the models are equal size and shape. In 2/3, we know our fraction model is divided into 3 equal pieces and 2 pieces are shaded. For 2/4, we know that our fraction model is divided into 4 equal pieces and 2 pieces are shaded. Looking at this model, we see that 2/3 is greater than 2/4 because more of 2/3 is shaded than 2/4. In this example, our equal size and shape models are our justification to help us place 2/4 and 2/3 on the number line. We know that 2/4 will be placed on the number line before 2/3. Another method of justification is to look at the numerators and denominators. I notice the denominators are different. If the denominators were the same, I would just need to look at the numerators to determine which fraction was bigger. Now I will look at the numerators. They are the same. Since the numerators are the same, I just need to look at the denominators to determine which fraction is greater. My denominators are 3 and 4. This means my fraction models are divided into 3 and 4 pieces. I know that the more pieces my whole is divided into, the smaller the pieces will be. So in our example, 2/3 and 2/4, the pieces are smaller in 2/4, meaning that 2/4 will be smaller than 2/3. Or we could say that 2/4 is less than 2/3. Or 2/3 would be placed on the number line after 2/4. In this lesson, we were able to place fractions on a number line and justify the placement of fractions using the following methods: what I know, number lines, equal size and shape models, and looking for same denominators or same numerators.